untuk petang ini insyaAllah kita akan teruskan kita punya slot CDL. Dan untuk itu untuk tidak membuang masa, saya dengan ini pertama sekali mengucapkan terima kasih kepada semua guru-guru yang hadir pada petang ini, dan kita teruskan kita punya program pada petang ini bersama tak lain dan tak bukan iaitu Dato Dr. Mahendra untuk slot kita petang ni. Kita mulakan dengan Dato', dan saya harap rakan-rakan guru yang berada di dalam Zoom ini dapat memberi tumpuan dan mencatat perkara-perkara yang penting untuk kita jadikan rujukan pada masa akan datang, kerana Dr. Mahendra tak pernah tak beri sesuatu yang memotivasi kita untuk kita gunakan pada kehidupan kita sebagai pendidik, insyaAllah. Untuk itu saya persilakan Dato' Dr. Mahendra untuk slot kita pada petang ini. Dipersilakan, Dato'.
Terima kasih Cikgu Sari, dan Cikgu Sari baru berlepas daripada Melaka on the way orang kuat kita. Dan terima kasih kepada semua yang dapat hadir bersama pada hari ini. Semalam Dr. Zalina, beliau berada di Sabah kerana melancarkan CDL hands-on di Sabah pula, yang akan berlangsung setiap hari Khamis di Sabah. So satu tambahan kepada apa yang kita buat untuk di bawah program Cikgu Bantu Cikgu. Topik saya pada hari ini ialah walk your talk. Walk your talk ni kita selalu dengar orang sebut. We must walk your talk. Atau kalau orang bahasa pasarnya, buat seperti cakap. What we say, kita lakukan perkara itu. Dan saya nak bacakan juga yang sebelah kanan, kalau tuan-tuan dan puan-puan dapat lihat satu macam poster juga tentang knowledge decides what you say. Ilmu itu menentukan apa yang kita cakap. Kemahiran menentukan bagaimana kita cakap. Sikap kita menentukan berapa banyak kita cakap. Dan wisdom akan menentukan adakah kita patut cakap atau tidak. Jadi 4 perkara ini, ilmu, sikap, kemahiran, sikap dan wisdom. Wisdom ni dalam bahasa Malaysia ni rasa macam nak kata sejenis hikmah jugalah tentang apa yang kita patut cakap. So tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, topik walk your talk ini ada kaitan dengan pengurusan, ada kaitan dengan apa yang kita lakukan setiap hari, dan bukan saja untuk pemimpin, seorang pemimpin, tapi untuk sesiapa saja. Walk your talk ini adalah perkara yang penting. Okay, next slide please. Sebelum saya masuk ke slide ini, saya nak minta Siti untuk tayangan satu video ringkas saja. Satu video ringkas. Harap-harap akan dapat kita dengar suara dia sekali. Yeah.
नहीं मम्मा, I can't be late. Punctuality पे talk देना है. I got to walk the talk.
Go walk, करो talk. Go walk, अपनी talk. Go walk, करो walk, walk, walk. Go walk, करो talk. Go walk, अपनी talk. Go walk, करो walk, walk, walk. Walk, walk, walk.
Did you like my talk on pollution control?
Yeah, it was nice. See ya.
Okay, bye-bye.
इंडिया में कितना कचरा है यार।
Terima kasih Siti. So daripada satu video ringkas 1 minit 30 saat saja, beberapa contoh kita dapat lihat tentang walk your talk ini. Saya ada teman saya hari ini, anak saya nak turut mendengar apa yang saya cakap. Okey, pada mudahnya saya sebut tadi bahawa kita say what you want to do and do what you say. So ini perkara intipati tentang walking your talk ini. Right? Jika anda walk your talk, orang percaya pada anda. Tingkah laku kita konsisten. Kita rasa selesa tentang diri sendiri sebab kita bukan ada tingkah laku kita tidak ada nada-nada yang berbeza. Cara kita buat sesuatu tu memang mengikut lunas yang tertentu. Karakter dan reputasi kita akan terpuji. Staf dan rakan selesa dengan kita. Dan kita akan dapat menikmati satu adab dan budaya kerja dan hidup kita secara ikhlas dan teratur. Dan kita ada mutual respect. Kita menghormati orang dan orang menghormati kita kerana apa? Kerana kita walk our talk. Kita buat apa yang kita cakap, kita lakukan. Supaya menjadi teladan yang terbaik untuk sesiapa yang ada bersama kita. Tetapi jika kita tidak walk our talk, jika kita tidak walk our talk, apa yang mungkin kita akan lihat? Orang hilang kepercayaan pada kita. Tingkah laku kita tidak konsisten. Ada masanya kita ikut aja, kita buat macam ini. Hari berikutnya kita ubah pula. Dan susah untuk dibawa berunding kerana kita tidak ada satu pegangan yang teratur, pegangan yang memang terpuji. Dan kita tidak yakin, kita sendiri akan tidak yakin tentang diri sendiri, apa yang kita cakap sebelum ni, apa yang kita buat sebelum ni. Dan kita akan mempunyai karakter dan reputasi yang boleh dipersoalkan. Staf dan rakan kita tidak mudah mendekati kita. Kerana kita boleh ubah cara pemikiran kita bukan berdasarkan apa yang kita cakap. Dan kalau begitu berlaku, kita sukar untuk membina satu adab dan budaya kerja yang terpuji. Bukan saja dalam kerja, tapi dalam kehidupan kita. Dan akhirnya kita mungkin hilang mutual respect itu. So itu kalau kita tidak walk our talk. Jadi, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, berapa tip tentang walk your talk ni. Jadi teladan terpuji. Kita sentiasa diperhatikan. Saya sedar tentang perkara ini dalam waktu kerja dulu. Parking kereta, pakaian kita dan sebagainya sentiasa kita ikuti. Kalau sudah ada peraturan, kita ikut. Ikut peraturan yang telah digubal. Kalau kita guru, murid melihat kita. Cikgu suruh buat begini, buat A, B, C. Tapi sendiri kalau tak buat, maka murid tidak percaya bahawa guru tu ada prinsip pegangan yang boleh dicontohi, boleh diteladani. So, if you make a rule or design a process, ikut. Ikut peraturan yang kita telah gubal. Dan kalau kita sebahagian daripada satu pasukan, kalau kita guru, kita minta murid lakukan sesuatu, pastikan kita turun bersama dengan murid kita. Pastikan kalau kita ketua panitia, kita turun bersama dengan guru kalau kita bagi satu projek. Kalau kita GKMP, PK, pengetua dan sebagainya. Kita mesti dari masa ke semasa turun padang dan mempamerkan bahawa kita sebahagian daripada pasukan itu. Dan kalau itu berlaku, maka mereka mempercayai kepimpinan kita. Walaupun sebagai seorang guru dan jawatan-jawatan lain. Kita buat bersama, collaborate dalam tugasan yang kita nak mencapai matlamat itu bersama. Dan di situ kadang-kadang kita jangan delegasikan semua kerja. Ada bahagian yang kita juga ambil. Kita ambil perhatian dan kita ambil tanggungjawab tentang sebahagian daripada kerja itu. Dan saya rasa yang paling penting ialah inilah, buat seperti cakap. Do what you say you're going to do. Jangan buat rash promises. Jangan beri orang, kita meyakinkan orang kita akan buat satu tapi akhirnya kita janji-janji itu janji kosong, ya. Dan seterusnya, build commitment to your organization goal, komitmen yang tulus, ya, supaya orang percaya kita ada komitmen, orang lain akan ikut komitmen kita. Bagi seorang pengetua, kita selalu nyatakan bahawa atau kalau sekolah boleh fungsi dengan optimum tanpa pemimpin ada di situ, kerana komitmen yang tulus telah dibina. Tugas kerja sekolah atau fungsi sekolah, operasi sekolah berjalan tanpa ada pemimpin pun. Itu menunjukkan bahawa kepimpinan atau walk your talk ini sebenarnya telah terbenam dalam sanubari semua warga sekolah, maupun daripada murid sehingga kepada guru dan pihak kepimpinan dan juga staf pekerja kita yang lain. So, bina komitmen ini secara tulus. Dan kita jangan ada satu arah atau satu saluran komunikasi saja. Banyak masa sudah berubah sekarang. Saya selalu sebut bahawa dahulu daripada revolusi industri kita masuk ke revolusi informasi. Daripada revolusi informasi kita masuk ke revolusi emosi. Di dalam revolusi emosi ini cara komunikasi itu sudah berubah. Kita mesti individu yang mudah didekati, senang didekati. Bukan orang atau staf kita atau rakan kita jauhkan diri daripada kita. So, bina pelbagai cara komunikasi ini, orang kata pintu saya sentiasa terbuka. Pastikan kalau kita cakap pintu kita sentiasa terbuka, maka ia terbuka, people can walk in, tidak ada terlalu banyak hierarki, tidak ada terlalu banyak protokol kalau kita nak ke depan. Penghormatan itu ada. Tetapi tata cara kita akhirnya nak lakukan sesuatu, maka kita sediakan saluran komunikasi. Saya cukup percaya dalam perkara nombor 7 ini. Saya sentiasa menyatakan masa kerja dulu, saya kata kalau staf nak jumpa, saya sedia menunggu sampai 7 malam pun tak apa. Yang penting, I want to be there for you. Supaya kerja kita dapat dilaksanakan. Saya mudah untuk didekati, untuk mereka nak bincang sesuatu. Dan gunakan perbualan. Setiap sesuatu tidak dapat diselesaikan dalam mesyuarat saja. Perbualan atau conversation adalah satu tata cara yang terbaik. Conversation yang strategik untuk mencapai sesuatu matlamat. Dan yang terakhir, kalaulah pemimpin yang juga ada tidak walk their talk, maka mereka mesti beri maklum balas di antara mereka sendiri. Kalau ada seorang fikir atau siapa pun lah datang lewat, kalau guru nak bagi tahu mungkin rasa tak selesa. So sepatutnya fikir yang lain boleh bagi tahu dia, kita ada peraturan ni. Saudara atau saudari kena pastikan dapat mengikut waktu yang peraturan yang kita sudah ada. Peraturan adalah untuk semua, bukan untuk seorang saja. So tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, walk your talk ini banyak kali kita gunakan ungkapan itu, tetapi maknanya cukup mendalam dan kita harus menghayati perkara ini. Dan kalau anda seorang pemimpin, maka lebihlah anda atau kita harus sentiasa menghayati perkara ini, bahawa adakah kita walk our talk. Walk our talk ini daripada A sampai Z. Bukan tentang kerja saja, tapi tentang setiap aspek. Bahasa yang kita gunakan pun, kalau kita katakan bahasa kita mesti ada adab, pastikan kita cakap dengan adab yang terpuji. Last slide please. So tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, seperti biasa kita tahu bahawa saya akhiri slot saya bahawa buku adalah beban latihan untuk minda. Kalau kita nak menguatkan otot, kita pergi ke gym. Tapi kalau kita nak meningkatkan ilmu yang ada pada kita, maka kita buatlah rujukan kepada buku, daripada internet, daripada makalah, jurnal dan sebagainya. Apa jua pun. Ilmu itu adalah penting untuk perkembangan minda kita. Dan apa jua tajuk, kalau kita teliti, sememangnya di luar sana ada buku tentang tajuk itu. Untuk walk your talk ini pun ada banyak buku tentang tajuk ini. Dan akhir sekali, if a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way they learn. So itu sahaja daripada saya, Cikgu Sari. Terima kasih untuk hari Jumaat ni. Hope you have a nice weekend, everyone. Thank you.
Alright, thank you Dr. Mahendra. Okay, so kita harapkan hari ini perkongsian daripada Dato'
Cikgu Sari, sorry saya mencela. Saya nak minta kalau Siti boleh tunjukkan sekali lagi untuk 1 minit 30 saat video tu yang join lewat tadi sedikit.
Alright.
Okay, Siti, can you show again walk your talk punya ni? Very short video je.
नहीं मम्मा, I can't be late. Punctuality पे talk देना है. I gotta walk the talk.
Go walk, karo talk. Go walk, apni talk. Go walk, karo walk, walk, walk. Go walk, karo talk. Go walk, apni talk. Go walk, karo walk, walk, walk. Walk, walk, walk.
Did you like my talk on pollution control?
Yeah, it was nice. See ya.
Okay, bye-bye.
Walk your talk.
Go walk, karo walk, walk, walk.
इंडिया में कितना कचरा है यार।
आइए ना मैम। No.
Okay, terima kasih Siti.
Alright, terima kasih Dato' Mahendra dan juga Siti yang membantu. Saya mengharapkan kita sama-sama apa yang dikongsikan oleh Dato' tadi sedikit memotivasi kita untuk mengubah kita punya gerak kerja agar kita ni walk the talk. Okay, alright, so terima kasih Dato'. InsyaAllah kita teruskan kita punya program bersama guru yang akan membantu kita, iaitu Cikgu Emira Nabila. Saya rasa beliau dah bersedia untuk sesi kita pada petang ini. So mari kita sama-sama, mudah-mudahan dengan apa yang dikongsikan oleh Cikgu Nabila sikit membantu untuk kita. Dipersilakan Cikgu Nabila.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Saya boleh didengar tak? Can I be heard?
Dengar.
Okay. Alright. Okay, I'll just share our poster for today on the screen right now. I'm hoping that it will load as fast as it can. So, my title, thank you Cikgu Moderator, Cikgu Sarimah, as well as Dr. Mahendra Singh just now, who has kindly given us a bit of sharing regarding the topic selected. So my selection of topic for today is Pembugaran Kemahiran Berfikir Aras Tinggi dalam kalangan guru, Kaedah Praktikal, as well as Teknik Digital and Konvensional. So I guess I can jump straight into it. The reason why I have selected this topic is not because this topic is my forte or anything. I'm definitely not someone who has a high level of expertise regarding higher order thinking skills. But how this was initiated was simply because last time our school was visited by an SISC plus, a district education officer from the district education office of Pasir Gudang. And what he did was he guided us in building a team of facilitators for the higher order thinking skills. So from there, we decided to build a team of facilitators in which we conducted a course for the teachers in our school. So I had like around 9 teachers in my team who somehow had to be willing to try and participate in this course. The main aim of the course was to try and get our teachers in our school to understand better regarding higher order thinking. Of course, we had some reference from teachers from another school, which was a team of facilitators from SMK Taman Johor Jaya. I guess what I can do for the teachers in the audience right now, I definitely thank the teachers in the audience for kindly joining our session for today. I feel like this is definitely something which is a commendable effort on your part, because you have definitely sacrificed the time for especially for teachers in Johor, in which today is meant to be a weekend. So I guess I can share with you first the template that we use. Okay, I put it in the chat just now. Can it be seen on the screen? Nampak kan? Okay. So on the screen right now, you can see the template that I use with my team of facilitators in my school. Of course, none of us were experts in higher order thinking skills, but we learned throughout the process of teaching our colleagues about higher order thinking. So we had like around 5 sessions, just in case the teachers in the audience, in the viewers right now, if you would like to use the same template, you can definitely check out the template, because it is definitely very much comprehensible. It's definitely very detailed and comprehensible. You can see the step-by-step procedure. You can conduct it with your teachers in your school. I will definitely ask for permission from the district education office who was in charge of our course to let this sharing be done. So if we look at the template right now, the first slot was an ice-breaking session that I did with the teachers in my school. We use a 21st century teaching technique, which was called the numbers head. I will definitely go further into that after this. But the main aim was for them to cooperate and collaborate together with each team member in developing the higher order thinking skill based on the task that we give. Okay, so that was the first one. The second one was actually the main business. Since we were dealing with higher order thinking, of course, the main aim was for us to try and let teachers understand how they can incorporate higher order thinking in their pedagogy. For us as the team of facilitators, it was definitely more of andragogy rather than pedagogy, because we were teaching teachers. But just in case you are interested, of course, we can definitely do most of these activities with our own learners as well. So that makes it andragogy. So some of the 21st century teaching skills that we, some of the 21st century teaching activities that we did, of course, were the familiar ones, such as think, pair, share. But I will share with you how I modified it and how I made it into an activity which is mine for think, pair, share activity. We had the jot thought activity, as well as the one which is called one stray and the rest stay. Yesterday, as I was preparing for this particular sharing, I came across an article from one of the most famous teachers in Malaysia, Cikgu Helmi, in which from SMK Jerlun Kedah, he's a science teacher. So he did this one stray, the rest stay activity with his learners. And I saw a comment which said that, isn't it better if the one person, the one student who stayed at the station to also be allowed to move and stray away? So of course, teachers, when we are given some sort of methodology or a technique for us to use, it is up to us to adapt. We can adapt it if we want to. We don't necessarily have to adopt everything. So yeah, If you want your learners to move, to take turns and move to other stations, definitely you're the one in charge. Okay, for the third slot, we had higher order thinking for co-curricular activities as well as students affairs. We use the brainstorm technique as well as the quick wins. This is just a template. Of course, I will be sharing with teachers in the audience, in the viewers right now, how I turned it with my team. I turned it into the activities that we did. We also had an adopt and adapt activity based on the KSSM textbook. And last but not least, it was more of a conclusion by providing the teachers with the JPNJ, Johor, Google site for the higher order thinking skills, as well as some materials from the Pasir Gudang district. So this was the template that we used. And I will definitely go into them in further detail by discussing it with you right now. Okay, so basically what we wanted our teachers to learn during that session was regarding higher order thinking skills, but not theoretically. We wanted teachers to learn more about higher order thinking by actually doing the activities and learning from there. Okay, so the first session, as I've shown in the template just now, was the ice-breaking session. We wanted the teachers to realize about the relevance of higher order thinking, especially among us teachers first. As teachers, I believe that we have to understand the concept of higher order thinking first. Only then we can have learners practice it. So what we did, it was a very simple yet very impactful activity, I believe, in which we group our teachers according to the phone brands. I'm pretty sure that teachers out there, if you wanted to group your learners, you can definitely use this same strategy before you ask them to incorporate in the higher order thinking skills activity. You can definitely ask them to be grouped. Maybe you can ask them to be grouped according to their pencil case colors, for example, using their drink bottles colors, for example. So this is, I'll share with you the amount of promotion that was in the meeting room for my school first. By the way, can the audio be heard? Is the audio audible? Yes.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Okay, so basically, as you can see, the teachers were trying to find their group members by relying on the phone brands. Some teachers have LG, some teachers have Samsung. So the main aim there was for them to use their communication skills to try and identify which person is in the same group as them. Despite it being very tumultuous, very chaotic, some administrators would think that a classroom like this would be very much reflecting a low level of classroom management skills. But different teachers have different perceptions. I think when students engage in something which is a bit noisier, it might get them to be having a bit more of a fun learning situation compared to just sitting at their desk and then listening to the teacher imparting knowledge. Okay, so once they have already been grouped according to their handphones, these are the steps that we followed. They had to create a type of cheer based on their phone brand. So this is where, if we look at the Bloom's taxonomy or the Anderson taxonomy, if I could, after this, definitely I'll show you the difference between the two taxonomies. The part where teachers or learners have to create something new out of a particular situation that we give them, that's where they are practicing the higher order thinking skill. Because they have to somehow think of the words or phrases that they wanted to insert in their cheer, as well as the gestures that they have to be creative with when they are trying to present their phone brands. Okay, last but not least, the third step was for them to defend their own phone brand. And from here, I could see that when we do try to create a controversial situation, like a controversial context, as a springboard for discussion for teachers or for learners. It gets them to be more in-depth when they provide the answers, because they're trying to defend why their phone brand is the most advantageous. They're trying to show us that their phone brand is the best. So it gets us to have the learners or the teachers, if you're teaching teachers, to try and justify. So again, justifying, giving reasoning, defending, that would fall under the second highest level of thinking when you look at the Bloom's taxonomy or the Anderson taxonomy. So this is how you can somehow incorporate higher order thinking skill among your learners. Okay, next I will share the cheers that the teachers have come up with. Okay, that's one from LG. Okay, and this one is from the iPhone group, the most popular brand out there for now. All right, so again, by having the learners defend their phones, I could definitely see a lot of discussion happening in the meeting room, or if you're doing this with the learners, they would definitely be very excited, enthusiastic about defending their items that they have with them. So this is one good way for us to incorporate higher order thinking skills among the learners. Okay. The second activity that I did with we did with the teachers was a very simple activity, which was a chain story activity. I'm pretty sure that teachers, in the viewers, in the audience right now, you have definitely tried out chain story. But if you haven't already done so, this is how it's done. We simply gave one word for one particular group to try and extend. If you're a language teacher, of course, you could benefit from this activity because it gets your learners to be creative when building their sentences. Okay, so once each group has got their own sentence, as you can see on the screen right now, we use a Hari Raya theme because at that particular moment when we were conducting the course, it was a few weeks before Hari Raya. So we felt like we wanted to have them be a bit more engaged in the lesson by, playing with that sentiment there. Okay, so after they are done with the sentences for each group, what we wanted them to do was to build a full story by assembling all the other groups' sentences and then trying to think of a story which is either hilarious or scary, depending on how they would like to do it. So from this particular activity, the higher order thinking skill can be incorporated when teachers allow the learners some opportunity to try and develop the story further based on the sentences that have been provided. The reason is because students can somehow insert some cohesive devices to make the story more cohesive. They can also insert some adjectives, adverbs, some further details in the story. They can even have it done in a full story template, such as by having a full plot. They can have the exposition for certain sentences. They can also have the rising action, the climax of the story, the falling action, the resolution, and then they can come up with a full story. If you actually try this out with your learners, you can definitely see their creativity in building a full story and making it. Sometimes students, they like to impress their friends, so they would insert some elements of humor in the story, and that is where the lesson becomes a bit more engaging and definitely incorporating higher order thinking skills. I have definitely shared my own take on this chain story activity, which was by incorporating it with the use of the tic-tac-toe virtual board game. How is it done? It is basically by having my learners engage in the game of tic-tac-toe. They were divided into two groups. Of course, if we play tic-tac-toe, we can have the group with X and the group with O, and they take turns to try and build sentences. Okay, for example, this student here, he chooses the box in the green color, and then he is given a word. For example, he has to build a sentence using the word technology. Since during that particular time, I was teaching about online learning. So when he builds a sentence about technology, let's say he is a group X. So I will cross X there for that particular box. Okay, and then the person from the opposite team will be providing with us with another sentence. Okay, and of course he or she has to pay attention to the sentence given by his friend previously, and then continue the story further, all about the same topic, which is online learning. Okay, if I could somehow demonstrate that using a video. Okay, let me just do that first. I've got a few other materials. I've got a few other materials which are on in a video manner. So I will definitely like to share with you. Okay. Okay, give me a few seconds before I do try to have the video shown. Okay, somehow it's a bit frozen here. Okay, never mind. Okay, what I will do after this, I will share with you the video in which I conducted a digital innovations video full of the materials that I've done for the incorporation of higher order thinking skill. Okay, right now, okay, I'll just share the Google slide that I do have. Is it moving? Somehow the Google slide is not moving, is it? Okay, let me try and stop the sharing first. Okay, a bit of technical difficulty here. Okay, so I have it done. Okay, wait, All right, so I'll share with you the digital and innovations that I've done. Okay, I'll definitely have it played on Windows Media Player first. Okay, I guess this would be my display of all the digital innovations that I've done, and some of them do try to incorporate higher order thinking skill. You can clearly see if you have any inquiries regarding how it's done, probably you can type it in the chat later. Okay, so I believe right now we can see the digital innovations in English language teaching video, and I'll try and have it played. Can I know whether the audio can be heard?
It can be.
Okay, so if that's the case, I will try and share again with the sharing sound optimization here. To good in your career. So here you need to have an understanding of just now, if I could just intervene, it was simply me using the Google form. That's probably just a little bit of, higher order thinking on our part as a teacher, because we are very used to using Google forms, right? But sometimes if we can make use of the analysis that are on Google form, as you can see just now, I simply just made use of the Google form analysis to try and teach my learners about what sort of the errors should they be avoiding when they are answering for their reading paper. So here you need to have an understanding of succeed is a verb. So 6 would be, are you ready, Hannah? Hannah, what do you usually have for breakfast?
I usually have bread.
Okay, and the students will continue the sentence in order to win this game of tic-tac-toe. Tic-tac-toe is basically you have to have a row, a column, or a diagonal with 3 X's or 3 O's. Okay, the students will have this as their team. Okay, team X. So ready. Team O, so get ready. The first person, Kylie. Kylie, choose.
Yeah.
Color first.
One color.
From here, where do you want to move?
I would love to start with the dark green colored box.
Dark white? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, dark green.
So a question at the back.
Okay, make a sentence using the word technology and continue the story.
Once they Okay, so I'll definitely share the rest of the video showing how I try and incorporate higher order thinking skills with my own learners. But basically, the one that I mentioned just now was the chain story activity, which I believe that teachers can try and use in your own lessons. Okay, moving on with my presentation. Okay, I am now going to move to the second slot of the course, which I conducted with the teachers in my school. So I'm hoping that, right now the slide is there. Okay, so just now it was me just with my team of my the colleagues that I have in my school. So the second slot here is where we tried and focus on the core business, which is regarding higher order thinking skills. We wanted teachers to understand better about the theory of higher order thinking skills, because sometimes teachers may have a lot of misconceptions regarding higher order thinking. Okay, so how do we do that? Is through the activities that we designed. Okay, but before I go further in depth about the activities that we did design for the course, for the higher order thinking course in my own school. Of course, I would like teachers to understand that why are we doing this? Why are we trying to incorporate higher order thinking skills in our lesson? Is definitely, if we look at this SKPMG 2, we have the standard 4.4 guru sebagai pendorong, and then 4.6 murid sebagai pembelajar aktif. Okay, and when we think about it, it is only when we as teachers are able to design lessons using our own higher order thinking, then we are able to make the learners practice the use of higher order thinking skills in their own learning. Another very much, it is without a shadow of a doubt, we definitely have to understand that if our learners are to compete at a national or a global level, okay. Can I be heard? By the way, I see in the chat that we have people saying that my voice cannot be heard.
I can hear your voice.
Okay. So I guess for the teachers who are having problems, do let me know. Okay. Okay, among the reasons why we do have to incorporate higher order thinking skills among our learners is because we want them to compete at a global level, at an international level, which is part of the elements that we have to incorporate in them is their higher order thinking skills. Okay. Okay. For the teachers who are having some difficulties in hearing me, I hope that the problem is resolved. Okay, so right now I am going to share the my next slide, which is regarding the taxonomy. Of course, right now it seems very dry. It is us just looking at the theory first, but I promise that I will definitely go into the practical methods as well. Okay, so looking at the taxonomy that we have here, the Bloom's taxonomy is definitely slightly different with the Anderson taxonomy, because there are some slight changes. Because number one, if we look at the taxonomy in 1956, the Bloom's taxonomy provides us with the nouns for the thinking skills. For example, knowledge, comprehension, application. But then when it is a revised version for the Anderson taxonomy, it is being changed into the verb form. Okay, so for example, knowledge is now remember, comprehension, understand, application, apply. And the most important thing is that the levels have somehow been swapped. Okay, synthesis is now at the creation level, the highest level. Synthesis is basically when we try and put all the pieces together and form this general understanding about something. That's how it becomes a creation. And then evaluation here falls to the second level, which is evaluate when it is in the Anderson taxonomy version. Okay, looking at this particular diagram that we have on the screen right now, among the misconceptions that I found out when we conducted the course in my own school, and after this, of course, we will conduct it in another school in our district, what we discovered was some of our teachers still require a bit of content, a bit of input regarding what higher order thinking is actually, because some teachers think that even at the lowest level here, when they ask students to remember certain certain things in their lesson, when they ask their learners to regurgitate information to try and give them what they understand, or maybe what they remember, they think that that is already higher level because it is in the taxonomy. But then again, that is the lowest level for the Anderson taxonomy. Okay, so that is actually the lower level. If we ask students to tell us, what do you remember from my lesson? They are simply just giving us information, and that does not require higher order thinking skills at all. It is only when they are able to assess a particular piece of information, they are able to justify, give reasons, and then when they are able to create something new, only then it is considered as higher order thinking. So that was what I discovered from the course, and I will show you how we discovered that. Okay, but before that, probably we can have a look at some of the questions for the different levels of thinking. Since this was actually like found in the PPD Pasir Gudang, or the District Education Office of Pasir Gudang, input that was given to us. I will definitely share the link with you. It was on Google site. This is for the English subject. If you have a look at how the questions are actually changing as the levels change. Okay, so actually we don't really have to always have advanced technology when we are teaching our learners and incorporating higher order thinking. Sometimes it is through our questioning skills. Okay, the questions that we give to learners can already allow us to incorporate higher order thinking. Okay, thank you. It's good that teacher Kam has already been able to get the sound. Okay, right now you can simply analyze the questions that are given on your screen right now. If we have a look at this one, soalan mengingat. What do reduce, reuse, and recycle mean? If students are able to give us the textbook definition for recycling, reducing, and reusing, then that means they are using their lowest level of thinking. Okay, and then if we move further here, okay, a mineral water bottle is turned into a flower pot. Is this reduce, reuse, or recycle? Then students use their own understanding of the concept of reduce, reuse, and recycle. Only then they would be able to answer the question. Okay. And we go along and you can see how the question changes. At the top level here would be, if you have stacks of old newspapers, how would you recycle it? So students have to think of, this, it's either they create something new out of the newspapers, or they think of a new strategy to try and ensure that newspapers can be recycled. So it is very important for us as teachers first to understand the difference between the levels of thinking. Only then we can somehow ask our learners the questions necessary for them to incorporate, for us to incorporate higher order thinking skills in our lesson. Okay, so that would be the questioning that we can incorporate in our lesson. Next, I believe that I can share with you my own take on the higher order thinking skills method. Okay. For the second slot, I was pairing with another colleague of mine, and I have decided on this particular activity here, which I will show you shortly after this on the screen. It is the think, pair, share as suggested in the CPD module that was given to us, but I simply had my own take on it, so I changed it slightly. So the think, pair, share activity that I did with my own learners was for them to build a meme. But of course, first of all, I would need to find a suitable platform for me to make them practice the think, pair, share activity. And since at that particular moment in time, I did not have access to them face-to-face. We couldn't have a face-to-face interaction. It was a home-based lesson. So I decided to use this metaverse platform. It is a virtual reality space, which is called the Gather Town. I'm pretty sure that teachers in the audience, probably some of you, have already been introduced to Gather Town, but at that moment when I first had it done, I did not know what Gather Town was. I was introduced to Gather Town through an international virtual conference with teachers in the APAC region, teachers from Thailand, teachers from Indonesia, from Malaysia, as well as from the Philippines. So we learned about Gather Town during that particular course, which was organized by some Korean instructors. Okay, so Gather Town here is basically a video conferencing platform. It is a bit different from Zoom, definitely, because if we look at how it is being done, Gather Town does not have is not confined. Gather Town is definitely not confined to breakout rooms only, because okay, if you have a look at this right now, okay, I'll show you on the screen. Okay, Gather Town is probably more exciting for the learners. Number one is because they get to build their own avatars. Okay, when they enter the Gather Town platform, students have these avatars that they get to navigate. They can choose their names, they can choose to turn on their microphone, turn on their camera. So it is definitely the closest emulation to face-to-face interaction that I could get at that time. So I use these avatars. Even I, as a teacher, could build my own avatar. And these are what the rooms look like. If you look at the rooms here, we can see that the rooms have chairs, they have virtual whiteboards. There are definitely many features that can be used in the Gather Town platform. So as I've mentioned before, just now, it is a better alternative compared to Google Meet or Zoom, I would say. Because number one, students get to navigate their own avatar. They get to use the features such as virtual board on the Gather Town platform. Okay, and then they are not just confined to breakout rooms. Okay. The second thing is that their audio that they hear, it depends on the proximity of the avatar. So if they're close to their group members and they enter the same room on Gather Town, they can definitely hear each other better. Okay, so the activity that I wanted the learners to do on Gather Town was an activity called a meme. I'll definitely share the whole Padlet that I did with my own learners, in which they built the meme on Gather Town using the feature on Gather Town, which was the canvas feature as well as the note feature. Okay, so basically, what is a meme? If you are a Twitter generation, which most students are in the Twitter generation, they definitely understand what memes are. Memes are simply a way of them communicating some level of sarcasm on certain issues which are spread in the society, especially through social media such as Twitter. Okay, so they can somehow convey their ideas and their thoughts, their perspectives regarding the issue. So what I've done is I've selected this particular issue here, which was the issue last time. Yeah, meme is when students use pictures to explain certain situations. So I found that as a very interactive way for students to convey their opinions and their thoughts using memes. So how did I guide the students to build their memes is by giving them this guidance here. I'm pretty sure that our teachers in the audience are very clear about the issue of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock last time. Basically, it's because he has a wife who had alopecia, and Chris Rock here has somehow made him a bit angry by commenting on her bald head. Okay, she had a disease, but he commented on that. He pointed it out, so it became an issue there, and he felt Will Smith slapped him. So here I can somehow teach my own learners regarding some civics education as well. Okay, regarding is it right to do certain things, so it somehow develops their conscience regarding what is right and what is wrong. And how did I guide them into doing the meme? I simply asked them to look at things from the two perspectives. From the perspective of Chris Rock here, I asked them, what is something that you desire? It's either as a teacher or as a student, what is something that they desire? And then on the part of Will Smith here, I asked them the question, what would be the obstacles or the hindrance for them to achieve what they desire? Okay, so students were very, very creative when they built their memes. And the reason why I wanted the meme to be my set induction was because I wanted them to explain on Gather Town. Okay, so what I'll do right now is I'll share with you the whole Padlet, in which the students in my class at that particular moment, they have built their Padlet, they have built their memes on Gather Town, and I have displayed it on Padlet. So I will share with you the Padlet right now in the chat. I would appreciate it if the teachers in my audience right now, if you want to try out building the meme, I am going to send you right now an image of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. Okay, you can use any device or methods in trying to edit the image. Let's just see what your take would be regarding the issue that you have selected. Okay, so here would be in the chat right now. I am providing you with the blank canvas for the Will Smith picture. And I have also given to you the Padlet in which I have displayed my learners Padlet. Okay, so I'm showing you the Padlet right now on the screen. Okay, probably what I can also share before I do share what my learners have come up with. I'll just tell you what is available on the Padlet first. Okay, on the Padlet, you can have access to my YouTube video about how I use Gather Town. So if you wanted to know a bit more about Gather Town, you can click on the YouTube link there. Okay, and then you also have access to my Instagram here, in which I showcase how my learners engage in the speaking session when they were trying to explain their memes. Again, if you think about it, when they wanted to justify the reason why they have selected certain issues, for example, that is definitely at a higher order thinking skills level, because they are justifying and defending their points. Okay, so that's how I try to incorporate the use of higher order thinking. Okay, you do also have access to some of the built memes by my own student. Okay, on your screen right now, you can see how the students built the memes using the canvas feature. The canvas feature is on the right hand side, and then the note feature is on the left hand side. So if you are doing this in a think, pair, share activity, okay, all you have to do is engage the learners in the Gather Town first, give them a blank canvas, which is the picture of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, and then ask them to be in the breakout rooms on Gather Town. Okay, so in the rooms, they will be discussing, they will be building the caption for the memes, as well as editing using the canvas feature on Gather Town. Okay, so below here, you can see some of the memes that my students have produced. Okay, so we can tackle issues such as world hunger, for example, based on this particular meme that my student has built. It says here, the food at home sucks. And then there are people out there who are starving. Okay, another student says there are people out there who are starving. So it makes them a bit more, have a bit more gratitude in their lives. Okay, another one by my student here, when you search on Google, how to be rich without doing anything, Google slaps you back in the face, saying that that is not possible. Okay, in reality, in order to be rich, you have to put on effort. So there are many moral values that I get from my own students, okay, when they engage in the lesson for the meme building activity. Okay, I will definitely show you how they engage in the speaking task, okay, when they build their memes, because as I asked them to build their memes, I also wanted them to try and participate in the speaking activity. So that's basically what they have to do. Okay, so I'll share the part where they were supposed to try and explain about the meme. Okay, so here, if you look at my Instagram, it is on the Padlet that I've given to you. This is what the Gather Town platform looks like. We have different rooms that the students can enter. Okay, and then this would be, as I've mentioned before, the canvas feature and the note feature that the students can use.
as we all know, we batch 06 didn't sit for the PT3, but then it's so suddenly we are already in Form 4,
Right.
preparing for SPM.
So you feel like the time flies so very fast?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your preparation then? Okay, so that's basically how I tried and asked my students further questions as they were preparing for their building of the meme then. Okay, so looking at the meme that they have produced, okay, for example, this one here. Wow, the exam was easy. The results do not reflect the exam. It definitely gets us thinking about how creative our learners can be when they engage in a task, and that they have a lot of potential when given a task which is of a higher order, which requires a higher order level of thinking. Okay, this was the student who explained his meme just now. He says that when he entered Form 4, he felt like he was able to escape PT3. But then as he entered Form 4, he realized that he is sitting for SPM without sitting for PT3 first. And that is something that slaps him into reality because he felt like he was not prepared. Okay, so from there, I got the students to express their opinions regarding a certain issue that they have selected. And definitely it gets them to use, you know, a higher order thinking skill level there. Okay, I definitely encourage our teachers to try out the particular activity, especially for set induction. Okay, if you select a topic, okay, I'll show you one which my colleague has done here. Okay, I hope you can see it on the screen right now. This is by my colleague. I'll share with you she has given me permission to share the Padlet with others. Okay, let me just see whether I can try and get it shared. Maybe later I'll try to copy the link and then give it to you in the chat feature. So this is by my colleague. A good thing about us conducting the course in our school, when I share a particular activity with my own teachers, they are very positive about it. Some of them actually tried it out, and I felt like that is something which is very valuable for me, because, you know, I'm not just impacting the learners, but also the teachers. Okay, so which is something that I feel is very, very heartwarming, I believe, for me. Okay, so my colleague here has used another picture, which is the picture which went viral last time after SPM. It is a picture of a bus moving in front of a train, and the train somehow hits the bus. Okay, so for example, here I've got a student saying, on the way to heaven, and then my sins is the hindrance there. Okay, some of them are quite funny. My happiness for the bus. And then the train here, the one guy who said, teacher, you forgot the homework. Okay, so students are very, very creative when they build the meme. And once you get their memes, it sparks a good discussion between you and your learners. And it is definitely a good springboard for discussion, for further discussion, when you want to engage them in speaking tasks. For us as language teachers, okay, for me as a language teacher, I feel like such activities gets my learners to, number one, feel that the lesson is fun, but number two, they get to practice, you know, a bit of a higher order thinking when they want to justify their memes. All right, so I guess that's about it for the meme activity. Okay, right now I am sending to the teachers in the viewers, my colleagues' Padlet. Maybe you can have a closer look at the Padlet when you click on the link there, so that, you know, you can see how memes are actually done. Okay, so right now I am going to proceed with the next activity that I did with my own learners. Okay, or actually during that course it was teachers. Those were teachers whom I had to, you know, give input. Okay, so before I do that, I guess I can share one more meme that was actually done by a teacher. Okay, so this one, when we conducted the course for the higher order thinking skills in our school, we wanted the teachers to try it out as well. So this is what they came up with. Teacher, I want to use the chalk and talk method. But then again, we have SKPMG2, we have PAK21, we have KBAT, we have PBD, which does not allow us to use the chalk and talk method only, which is why, as mentioned just now, during Dr. Mahinder's session just now, we need to make changes according to the changes that are out there in the world. Okay. Moving on to the next activity during my session, still regarding the pedagogy among teachers slot, what we did was the activity for job thought. Okay, I'm pretty sure teachers, if you are very familiar with 21st century teaching and learning, you know what job thought is, and you've tried it out. Okay, so I'm just going to share my take, or me and my colleagues, our take on the job thought activity. How did we conduct the job thought activity? Okay, so the job thought activity here, I think what I'll do is I'll share with you the job thought activity Padlet first. As you can see, most of my platforms, it would be Padlet, but that does not make it boring or anything, because the activities are different. So as you can see, okay, right now I'll just show you the job thought activity slide first. Okay, if you look at on the right hand side of the screen, you can see some situational cards. Okay, so the situational cards that I did with my team, we did it both ways. We did it digitally and we did it conventionally as well. Okay. So what are on the situational cards? You might have already checked on the Padlet that I have given the link to you just now. We built the situational cards based on the different subjects that we have in our school. Okay, so this would be the situational cards. As you can see on the screen, the groups were given the tangible version, the ones that they can hold, but they also have access to the digital version, which is on the Padlet. Okay, in order for me to build the situational card, of course, the easiest way is to use Canva. Okay, so what I will do right now is I will share with you the details on Canva. On Canva, what I've done is I have given situations. Okay, so let me just share with you the situations first. So, okay, so for example, we've got group number 1, because during that session, we had around 10 groups. So each groups were divided not according to their subjects, but they have to cater to the subjects that they get based on the situational cards. So group 1 was BM, group 2 was business, group 3 biology, group 4 English, group 5 science, history, Islamic education. We've also got literature, catering. Okay, so what I did with the teachers was they have to analyze the information that we provide on the situational card. I hope Cikgu Zul Hazlina is able to hear. Maybe after this, Cikgu Zul Hazlina can refer to the recording. Okay, I'm sorry that you cannot hear the audio. I'm hoping that the others can hear. Okay, so right for here, group number 1 gets BM. Okay, how do I select which group is going to present first for the task that we are building? It is by using the wheel of names. Okay, let me just try and share the link for the wheel of names. Maybe you could benefit from the wheel of names app there. Okay, so we use the wheel of names. I am going to give you the link in the in the chat feature right now. Okay, so if you see on the screen right now, how do I select the groups who will be presenting? Of course, I will share with you what the task was, but let's just see how we do the selection of groups. Okay, it is by using this wheel of names. So let me just go through the task. For example, group number 3 is selected. Oh, group number 4, okay, is selected as the group who should present information. Okay, the task that I give them. Okay, let's have a look at the situational card. the tasks that I give my teachers in my school were, number one, they get the situational cards. Okay, each group gets different subjects. Okay, the first thing that they have to do is they have to find where the elements of KBAT or higher order thinking skills is incorporated in the lesson, because each group gets different situations. Okay, the second one is they have to give suggestions for further improvements. If they feel like the lesson wasn't good enough, how would they incorporate higher order thinking skills in the lesson? And then the third thing was for them to provide us with BBM, okay, or alat bahan bantu mengajar. Okay, what are the tools that they would like, or the applications that they would like the teacher to use in order to improve or improvise the lesson? Okay, so just now, for example, once I've given the task to the teachers, they would be in their groups discussing about these 3 tasks that I gave them, where the element of KBAT is, what are the suggestions for further improvement, what are the tools that they would like to use. Okay, once they have been given an amount of time, in order to time them, I use the classroom screen. You can use the timer on classroom screen so that they understand that they have a time limit. Okay, and then they come up with their answers in the comment section. So as you can see, so just now we selected group number 4, for example. Okay, group number 4 was the English language group. Okay, so the situation there for the English language, Cikgu Hanis menggunakan kertas mahjong, okay, kertas ataupun kertas warna untuk membuat aktiviti penulisan bahasa Inggeris secara berkumpulan. Okay, kat mana elemen KBAT dia? So that's what the teachers have to tell me. Pelajar diminta menulis satu perenggan berdasarkan soalan karangan bahasa Inggeris yang diberikan. Di akhir pembelajaran, mereka melakukan aktiviti gallery walk. So in their groups, they have to think of the answers for the 3 tasks that I gave them. Kat mana? Where is the element of KBAT? Number 2, just now the task was for them to find, give us suggestions for further improvement, because actually us in the team of facilitators, kita pun nak tahu sebenarnya how can it be improved. And then number 3, what are the tools? Okay, so if we look at the teacher's answers, I've somehow analyzed the teacher's answers based on the activity that I gave them. This is where I found that probably there are some misconceptions regarding higher order thinking. Okay, so I'll show you. Of course, I'm not pointing out to anyone. Sometimes I might have some, misunderstandings and misconceptions. This is just simply for us to learn further about it. Okay, this was the comment by the teacher in the chat, in the comment section on Padlet. So the task just now was about Cikgu Hanis' English lesson. The teachers have commented, the element of KBAT is when gallery walk is being used, group work is being used. Okay, penambahbaikan, one group can write 1 essay, and then they can have, one group can write 1 paragraph, and then the whole class can give an essay, which I think is a good suggestion. And then the third one is BBM. Okay, they can use social media such as Google Classroom and Google Jamboard. Okay, I don't have any problems with the second task and the third task, but when we look at the first answer here, it is very evident that probably the understanding regarding higher order thinking skill is not there yet, because if we think about it, gallery walk is actually just a 21st century activity. Grouping is just a way of us trying to make our learners collaborate, but it is the task that makes it higher order thinking or not. Okay, so I believe that here the teacher might need to understand better about higher order thinking. What is higher order thinking? It is when students are able to create something new and evaluate, the 2 top ones in the Anderson's taxonomy. Okay, another one here, again, a bit of misunderstanding here regarding what KBAT is, or higher order thinking. They think that kerja kumpulan and gallery walk is the higher order thinking element, which is probably not the best answer, because if we think about it, if we ask our learners to do a gallery walk and the task that they do during the gallery walk is just simply copying, maybe they copy the information from another group, that does not make it higher order thinking. Okay, I'm pretty sure that the teachers in the audience, you are aware of that. But sometimes we can have, some misunderstandings, something that we still need more clarification about, which is why the answers are like this in the on the Padlet that I have given to the teachers. Okay, probably we can have a look at another one, which was done on Canva. Okay, let's try and have a look at the first group, which is BM. Okay, Cikgu Syazliana meminta murid melukis gambar watak dalam bab 1, novel tingkatan 1 secara berkumpulan, berpandukan perwatakan yang diberi dalam novel. Kemudian seorang pelajar daripada setiap kumpulan diminta untuk berada di hot seat. Okay, sementara pelajar lain, soal pelajar tersebut berkenaan watak yang diberikan. Okay, pelajar di hot seat perlu mengetahui ciri-ciri watak yang telah dilukis tadi untuk menjawab soalan rakan-rakan. Okay, so I was a bit skeptical. I was a bit surprised when I received answers saying that this particular activity here is a higher order thinking activity. It incorporates higher order thinking because in actual fact, if we look at it very, very closely, the task given here, when the student is asked to sketch the character based on the novel, there's nothing new that the student is creating. The student is simply recalling information. Dia ingat balik macam mana watak dalam novel, or maybe kawan dia tolong, okay, and then dia lukis. There's nothing higher order thinking about that particular task. But I think the reason why teachers tell me that it is a higher order thinking is because they see 21st century activities being done, like hot seat, for example. Okay, hot seating here is simply a 21st century skills activity. So it is when we try and incorporate the use of higher order thinking questioning during the hot seat activity, only then the students will be practicing higher order thinking skills. Just now I showed the difference between the levels of questioning. If the students are asked about what is the characteristics for the character in the novel, that is a low order thinking. If you want the learners to have more higher order thinking skills practice, maybe you can ask, what would be a character that you could create in order to change the plot in the novel? Then that becomes a higher order thinking task for the learners to try and create a new character. Okay, so that's the misconception that I discovered during the session, and I was quite, I am hoping that it could be changed. I'm hoping that after the course that we conducted with the teachers, I'm hoping that the teachers in my school will understand better about higher order thinking, because it is clearly evident that some of us require further clarification. Okay, I'll show you another one, which is for another subject. Okay, which I felt like the activity that we did for this particular slot was the most impactful for me, because I could discover how we still need more enlightenment regarding higher order thinking. Okay, so let me just share another subject, because on the Padlet that I've shared with you, there are numerous subjects, ada 10. And of course, I cannot fit everything into this session. So let's just have a look at another one at least. Okay, I hope that if you want to use it in your school, maybe cikgu-cikgu nak guna untuk khusus pembudayaan KBAT in your school, you can definitely use my Padlet. What you can do is remake the Padlet, remake the Padlet, and then just delete all the comments, and try and do not delete my comments, and delete the comments on your Padlet, and then you can reuse it with your teachers in your school. Okay, so right now I'm sharing another subject. This is for the Islamic education subject, for the group that got the Islamic education. Of course, I select the group based on the wheel of names. We try and make the wheels turn first, and then only then the teachers will not say that we are not being fair, because sometimes teachers they like to complain a bit. So we use the fair method. Okay, group number 7 here got the subject Islamic education. The situation is this: Ustazah Rumaiza meminta pelajar-pelajarnya menghafal doa kunut, kemudian memperdengarkan semula ayat tersebut kepada beliau sambil membuat simulasi solat subuh. Untuk memastikan pelajar ingat doa kunut, beliau memberikan terjemahan ayat untuk memudahkan hafalan pelajar. Okay, so my question just now, my task that I gave just now was, where is the element of KBAT? Where is higher order thinking skills being incorporated in the lesson? And I was a bit surprised to receive this. Here it says that kefahaman dan memahami is actually higher order thinking, which is not the case. Let me just share, I guess I can quickly share the levels. I'm pretty sure that teachers are very aware of the levels. Okay. Because I think it's quite important for us to understand the metaphysical terms. Okay, the terms that we use when we want to give our students the task, such as menyenaraikan, mengenal pasti, menamakan. We have to understand the metaphysical terms first. Only then we can get we can get ourselves to understand which one falls under which category or level of higher order thinking. Okay, so for example, just now the teacher said Aras memahami is higher order thinking, which is not the case. Okay, memahami is definitely the second lowest level in the Anderson taxonomy. If students are able to show us that they understand a particular concept, it is still at the low level of thinking. Okay, which is what the teachers just now might need a bit of clarification about. Okay, another
Cikgu Emira,
sorry, yes.
we have few questions in the chat group.
Okay, so do I address the question first? Okay, let's try and see the questions first then.
It's up to you.
Okay, do I take the question from the most previous one, Cikgu Muhammad Burhan, is it? Okay, bagaimana cikgu mengekalkan proses berfikir dalam kalangan murid bagi satu-satu aktiviti PDPC yang dijalankan? It is through the strategic questioning. Saya memang akan pitchkan dia punya level of questioning tu, but of course it depends on the level of learners that I am dealing with. Because not all learners are advanced learners, okay? So I am glad if I could share one, let me share one recording, if I could. Can I take this particular question first? Okay. Give me a few seconds. Let me try and share a recording of a particular session, which is an authentic one, of course, in which I try to make sure that the learners are continuously thinking throughout the whole lesson. Okay, I believe that this can be seen on the screen right now.
Now, I disagree with parties because some students do not heed to the warnings that given by the teachers. So instead, I suggest to do extracurricular activities.
Okay, so my student here said that she wanted extracurricular activities to be done during in order to mitigate the problems, the disciplinary problems in our school. So what I did was I tried to ask her further questions. Let me just see if I can show you that.
They are rebellious. Regarding since if they are loitering, they will have the tendency to do unbeneficial things such as smoking or vaping. That's all.
Okay. Point of information. Most teenagers and students, even in this school, even teachers, we feel that extracurricular activities are a burden. How do you think that it can really solve the problem of school discipline? Because students sometimes they are rebellious. When you force them to stay in school for long hours, they can rebel and they can play truant. They can skip the extracurricular activities. What's your point of view?
Okay. So from there, I guess the questioning is important because my student said that extracurricular activities can solve the problem, disciplinary problems. So I felt like I should ask her that most students and teachers felt like extracurricular activities are a burden. How can it solve disciplinary problems? So when we do ask further question, it gets them thinking and it gets them to solve the problem that we provide them. So whenever that students give a particular point of view, us as the teacher, although we might not have that opinion, we can just simply pose the question to them and tell them that, oh, they might be wrong. Then they can somehow use that mode in which they will defend their point further. And from there, we can have them practicing higher order thinking skills because they want to say that they are right. So that's how I get them to continuously be using the higher order thinking skills. And this one is for a class which is a bit more high of an advanced learner. Okay, I hope that does answer the question. I hope that teachers, you can simply use your strategic questioning skills to try and ensure that the learners are not at a level where they're only giving you information by just regurgitating information, which is pointless. You have to provide a situation, a context for them to actually engage in a certain way in which they have to defend their points, for example. Just now, as you can see, I was giving them a debate task. Okay, the topic that I gave them was extracurricular activities can help lessen disciplinary problems. We have one in the government team and one in the opposition team. So of course, from there, when they are defending their points, they are already using higher order thinking skills because they're justifying why they think that extracurricular activities can somehow lessen the problems. But of course, there needs to be a lot of scaffolding. I do have a Padlet in which I showed the points that the students can use, and definitely it can get them to think further about the issue. Okay, the second one is oleh sebab trend pedagogi lebih terarah kepada pedagogi terbeza. Okay, differentiation. Bagaimana untuk memudahkan aktiviti refreshment? Refreshment atau aktiviti penyampaian kandungan PDPC berasaskan KBAT. Differentiation is quite a difficult task for all teachers. I had like a full differentiation course done with my own teacher. So setakat ni saya memang dah buat 2 kali khusus untuk guru di sekolah saya berkenaan dengan differentiation here. But I guess it depends on the creativity of the teachers in conducting the differentiation. If I could promote one tool that I did use untuk differentiation, cikgu boleh guna Quizlet sebab Quizlet, if you look at the actual tool, Quizlet tu there are some tasks yang memang betul-betul senang untuk students who are of a lower level, such as using the tool in which the learners have to match the answers only. Cikgu sediakan dia punya soalan, but then the task itself is made to be differentiated. And then untuk more advanced learners, they will have to answer questions yang lebih susah, difficult. But then soalannya sama je. For all students, the questions are the same, but the level of difficulty is different. That is how you use your pedagogy using some of the digital material, okay, untuk differentiation lah. Okay, the third question, dalam aktiviti yang dijalankan oleh cikgu, apakah sela masa yang ideal dalam proses penyoalan dengan murid? Oh, okay. It depends on the class. Waiting time untuk certain student, kita tahu anak murid kita. If let's say we know that the student is capable of giving an answer faster, then kita tak nak tunggu. We don't really wait too long. I provide them with, kalau cikgu tengok dalam video tadi, saya ada gunakan classroom screen di mana pelajar tersebut perlu bercakap dalam satu tempoh, and meaning kalau dia take too much time untuk speaking, untuk SPM for example, they have to understand that ada time limit. There is a time limit and they cannot take too long to think. So I would encourage them to be faster when they are doing their speaking exercise, especially because I don't want them to make the examiner think that they don't have enough vocabulary. So what I would advise them is, do not take too much time when you are doing your speaking task. Whatever word that you have in your mind, if it's simple word, use it. Although of course I expect them to use more advanced language, and I do practice using more advanced language with the learners, but when it comes to dalam PDPC, saya akan make sure that dia practice lah, jangan lama sangat dari segi sela masa tu, the waiting time. Untuk less advanced learner, of course kita bagi masa yang lebih, but while they are thinking, kita fokus kat student lain pula untuk berikan jawapan. Okay. Alright, so probably within the time that I do have, okay, there are a few, okay, I think that I would like to try and show one more subject if I can, or do I answer other questions? Okay, so I'll try and share one more here, which is for the biology subject. All these were done within a time span of I think like around 3 hours for one particular session. Okay, here we have the third group, which is the biology group. The situation that I gave was, Cikgu Alawiyah meminta pelajar membawa bahan makanan ke sekolah sehari sebelum menjalankan aktiviti flip classroom bagi menghasilkan nukleus sel haiwan. Mengikut kumpulan yang ditetapkan, pelajar perlu melabelkan setiap bahagian nukleus haiwan, sel haiwan, kemudian mereka akan menjalankan aktiviti, one stay, the rest stray. Okay, why do I see some scribbling on the Google slide? I'm not so sure. Okay, here the comment that I get on my Padlet is task yang saya bagi adalah which part is where the element of KBAT is incorporated. So the teacher says one stay, the other stray. That is KBAT. Okay, so again, as I mentioned before, one stay, others stray is actually a 21st century teaching activity. Okay, if you ask the learners to go and stray to other groups, but then they are simply copying notes from the other groups, that wouldn't require higher order thinking, and I've mentioned that before. So I'm hoping that you know, the teachers in the audience, you could be clear of that. So after this, when you are designing your lesson, you can have lower order thinking skills incorporated maybe in the beginning of the lesson, during the set induction. But as you go further, make sure that you are scaffolding your learners and asking them to constantly be practicing higher order thinking skills. Okay. One student is asked to stay, describe the work, the others around each station, and take note. Again, taking notes here doesn't require higher order thinking at all. They are simply like copying from the notes given. Okay, all right, so probably I can try and show you the next slot very quickly, I think, because our time is quite limited. The next slot was the higher order thinking in co-curricular activities. Okay, this is the part where it gets interesting, I guess, for our school. We do try, after this particular course that we had, the activities became a bit different. Okay, so here what we wanted, our aim as the team of facilitators for the course, was to ensure that even in extra co-curricular activities, as well as students' affairs, we do try and incorporate higher order thinking skills on our part as the teachers or the administrators. Okay, so kenapa perlu KBAT? I guess my student just now that I've shown on the video, I hope she did somehow, you know, give us some answers why we should have KBAT. Because if you do look at the video later, I'll try and have you have a look at the full video. What she said was, when teachers give them competitions, for example, singing competitions, they get to discover their hidden talents, and they get to discover more about themselves and their potential. Okay, they could practice high order thinking skills there. So that's the number one reason why they need to have KBAT in extracurricular activities, as well as you know, HEM. Okay, I think I will just show you what activity I did with the teachers in my school. What we did was we asked the teachers in our school to try and create their own coats of arms. I discovered this activity during my course with the performance and delivery unit. So basically, they have to build their own armor, okay, a shield, okay, in order to show us the symbolic meaning behind the activities that they would like to produce for higher order thinking skills in extracurricular activities. Okay, so I give them an example like this one. They can insert image, okay, by using the Google slide. So it comes in the form of Google slide, and they will, the teachers were given armors like this one. I can definitely share with you a link later if you would like to have this activity. Okay, so based on the armors here, okay, they select what sort of wings they want, what sort of crest that they would like, and then they can use some of the flat icon emoticons on this particular website. Okay, and these are what my teachers, the teachers in my school, have come up with. Okay, some of them decided on having games during extracurricular activities. Okay, some of them would like to have a club for the motorcycle club. This one was actually quite a good idea, in which students can get coupons from the koperasi or from the canteen when they engage in activities during extracurricular activities. So somehow they can collect the points, and it does help with their behavior, because when they do get the coupons, they will feel more motivated to try and get more coupons so that they can be rewarded in that manner. Okay, so these are some teachers would like to have Zumba clubs for the extracurricular activities. Okay, e-games, sports games. All right, so this would be from the morning session teachers. Tarian Zapin, masak makanan Johor. So we got a lot of ideas for the extracurricular activities from here, from the particular course. So they simply built their coat of arms using the Google Slides that I provided through a link. And then they presented their ideas. Rather than just presenting directly, we can have them present using this coat of arms, and it gets a bit more interesting then. Okay, this one was Hakka, which was already used during our sports activity last time. And this one is actually one actual activity done during my extra co-curricular activities in my school, in which it was a sandwich making competition. All the students brought ingredients for sandwich making according to the clubs, the unit uniforms. And we had a competition between the different clubs. Okay, club kesenian ke, and so on. So every club made their own sandwiches, and we selected the winners. Another activity was a building gadgets competition for the uniforms unit. Okay, so this gets them to use their creativity using the sticks, how they would like to make the sticks more stable when they're building their gadgets. Okay, so that would be the activity that was done during our extracurricular activity. So I can see that, probably through the course, I can see that, some changes have been made through the extracurricular activities. Okay, I've got one question here. Does it mean that only analyzing, evaluating, and creating are considered as sports? Okay, so let's have a look at the taxonomy in order to answer that particular question. It's actually pretty clear, pretty evident that what the teacher has mentioned just now is definitely true, but let's just confirm that using the taxonomy, just to make it clear, and so that everyone is clear in the audience. Okay. So as you can see on the from the diagram here, okay, evaluating and creating. That is where Kemahiran, Berfikir, Aras, Tinggi is. Remembering, understanding, that's low level for the higher order, for the diagram. And then application and analysis, analyzing something, that is actually in the middle part here. Okay, Aras sederhana. So only these two are considered as higher order thinking. But we don't have to feel pressured to always try and use higher order thinking in the class. Of course, when we are doing our set induction, it could be lower order thinking first. Okay, and then as we build it up in the lesson, only then we have to try and use higher order thinking. Never feel pressured to start with higher order thinking from the beginning without the learners having enough information, because our aim as the teacher is to make sure that we give enough scaffolding. Scaffolding here, if we think about the definition for scaffolding, it would be us trying to build this particular how do I say this, like a platform for them to start off first. Okay, scaffold dulu, baru start using high order thinking skill once the learners are ready. Okay, so I guess I could end it here because we have only 2 minutes left for the session. May I have any response from the moderator?
Okay. I think there is no more questions, maybe, or any question from other participants here. All right, I think no more question. Thank you very much to Cikgu Nabila or Teacher Nabila. Maybe Dr. Zalina, you have anything to say?
Saya tak boleh cakap sangat kerana berada di airport dengar suara lain ni.
Okay, alright. Safe journey, Dr. Zalina. Okay, so I think thank you again to Teacher Nabila. Very good sharing. Saya pun belajar. Maybe kita semua ada info tentang KBAT, but whatever sharing by Cikgu Nabila, very details with the good examples. Okay, I hope we can uh, improve our PPP. Cikgu Nabila nanti boleh share ke the slide maybe?
Boleh saya share
Saya
sekarang?
boleh cakap sikit sebab
Boleh.
dah senyap ni.
Okey,
Baik,
baik.
saya nak ucapkan juga terima kasih kepada Cikgu Emira atas perkongsian tentang HOTS itu yang sangat menarik. Walaupun saya tengok sekejap dengan telefon, sekejap dengan laptop, but semua tu saya rasa sangat menarik dan memberikan seperti mana Cikgu Sari kata tadi. Cikgu Sari kata memang walaupun semua antara kita barangkali tahu tentang KBAT ini, tentang HOTS, but at the same time we learn something from you, and there are always ada yang baharu yang kita pelajari. Cikgu Sari, saya sambung dengan habis lah. Kita ucapkan jutaan terima kasih kepada Cikgu Emira atas perkongsian ini, dan jangan lupa pada minggu hadapan kita ada lagi sesi yang seterusnya, iaitu siri yang ke-54 bersama Cikgu Zita binti Abdul Hamid dengan tajuk Trilog and Trigo. TNT, kaedah pantas menyelesaikan persamaan logaritma. Jadi kita tunggu minggu depan seperti biasa pada hari Jumaat jam 3 hingga 4:30 petang, dan sebelum kita berpisah kita ambil gambar dulu. Kalau ada suara daripada airport ni, Cikgu Sari kena ambil alih. Kita ambil gambar dulu. Semua mesti senyum, seterus senyum selama yang boleh. Pautan kehadiran juga telah disediakan di situ, juga pautan untuk minggu depan juga telah disediakan. Rakan-rakan lain saya harap dapat menyebarluaskan tentang perkongsian kita ini, sebab seperti pada awal-awal tadi Dr. Mahendra kata kita dah ada cawangan satu di Sabah yang dimulakan pada hari semalam. Dan kita ada juga satu lagi di peringkat IPGM, IPGM Ipoh yang mulakan, dan insyaAllah bulan depan kita ada hands on di peringkat negeri 9 pula. Nampaknya kita punya dots itu telah mula connect. Nampaknya sel-sel itu telah mula berhubung dengan baik. Dan ini ialah petanda yang sangat baik untuk cikgu-cikgu terus mengembangkan kemahiran, skill, berkongsi dengan rakan-rakan yang lain untuk anak didik kita, untuk kepenjadian murid. Okey, dah ambil gambar ke belum? Sebab saya bercakap ni. Emily, tolong ambil gambar.
Okey.
Terima kasih juga diucapkan kepada Cikgu Sari kerana tadi dalam kereta pun sempat juga membantu saya untuk memulakan program, dan alhamdulillah kita ni sebenarnya very committed dan kita ada semangat bekerjasama dalam tim kita, jadi kita tak ada masalah untuk apabila berhadapan dengan keadaan begini kita masih boleh saja siapa bantu siapa, boleh saja insya-Allah. So all the best to you. Selamat berhujung minggu kepada yang menjayakan hari PPD pada esok hari dan hari Ahad. Selamat menjayakannya. Masing-masing ada tugas, dan jumpa lagi cikgu semua pada minggu hadapan seperti biasa, hari yang sama, waktu yang sama. Assalamualaikum.